afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the YCCC Forum. We will have a debate on globalization. The topic is globalization makes the world flatter. I am Greta, and these are my teammates. The second speaker, Yanis. The third speaker, Kana. These are the opposition side. The first speaker, Annalise. Second speaker, Bowie. And the third speaker, Mandy. Before we start, let me define globalization. According to WHO, it is generally understood to include two interrelated elements: the opening of borders to increase fast flows of goods, services, finance, people, and ideas across international borders, and the changes in institution and policy regimes at the international and national levels that facilitate or promote such flows. Our second speaker, Yanis, will elaborate on the effects of advanced technology in relation to globalization. Our third speaker, Kana, will do the rebuttal against the opposition side. Now I will talk about e-commerce aspect. Since the collapse of Berlin Wall in 1989, the event not only symbolized the end of Cold War, it also means the people from the other side of the wall to join the economic mainstream. Plus, the technology keeps upgrading. Since then, a more sufficient example is standardized tools for communication and global phone network. It is as Feynman, the author of the book The World is Flat, says, when the wall comes down, the windows come up. We believe globalization makes the world flatter. Globalization flattens the distance between companies. Employees exchange information between companies. As the information goes around companies, they have shared ideas. As a result, it will increase the efficiency of the service. According to Feynman, besides of shipping, he also suggested the company can insource by themselves. For example, a delivery company helps repair computers on behalf of the computer company. It fastens the service. Once the computer is fixed, the delivery company can send it to the owner immediately. On the other hand, outsourcing has followed some parts of companies' value chain in a more efficient manner. Companies split service and manufacturing activities into components which can be subcontracted and performed in a most efficient, cost-effective way. As the company do division of labor, the process of each manufacturing step becomes easier with the mass distribution. Moreover, the increase of the offshoring among companies happens to relocate parts of their activities to reduce expenses. For instance, China's entrance in the WTO World Trade Organization allowed for greater competition in the business field. Now countries such as Malaysia, Mexico, and Brazil must compete against China and each other to have business offshore to them. The distances of each country is closer than before. Last but not least, the development global supply chain support in global streamlining and optimization of total supply chains. Feynman pointed out some modern retail supply chain use technology to streamline item sales, distribution, and shipping. It simplifies the manufacturing process of the company and allows trades to happen between countries in a short period of time. In short, more convenient and efficient commerce progress is one of the biggest parts that lead to globalization. We strongly believe it does make the world flatter. Thank you.
In our side, we don't agree that globalization makes the world flatter, as there are various differences among countries under globalization, include cultural, administrative, geographic, and economic distance. In the following debate, I will talk about the cultural and administrative distance. And our second speaker, Bowie, will talk about the geographic and economic distance. At last, our first speaker, Mandy, will do the rebuttal against affirmative side. For cultural distance, firstly, there are different languages among countries in the world. For example, there are French, German, English, and Finnish in Western countries. In Eastern countries, Japanese, Thai, Malay, and Cantonese are some kinds of national languages. It is difficult to integrate and communicate among all the countries, and there will have language barrier in globalization. Secondly, there are different religions including Buddhism, Christianity, Taoism, and Islam, etc. They have their own belief and practice, and some religions may have extreme ideology. Not all the countries can accept various types of religions. For example, a political movement in Germany from 2014 has raised up called Padija, and they aim to protect Judaism in Germany, and they hold marches in public areas which anti-Islam. Conflict may occur among different religions under globalization. For administrative and political distance, firstly, there will be political hostility. Different political parties have different point of view on the policy. As Hong Kong as an example, Democratic Party and Democratic Alliance for the Betterment and Progress of Hong Kong have opposite opinion on the political policy. They always counterbalance during the meeting in Legislative Council. Even Hong Kong has this extreme distance in political situation, then how can the world can generate these opinions altogether under globalization? There will be more and more distance from the political parties around the world finally. Secondly, there will have different direction on the government policy in distinct countries. A capitalism country will promote policy which is totally different from a socialism country. Policy cannot be integrated and globalized as there are differences in the political wills among all the countries in the world. Political wills are extreme and divided into two sides. They will counterbalance each other. Such differences are the big challenges in promoting globalization. Globalization cannot cater all the needs among countries, and different countries and governments have their own focus, which will have barriers to integrate and generate into one system. Therefore, globalization doesn't make the world flatter because there are more diversity among the world. Thank you.
We strongly believe that globalization makes the world flatter. We cannot deny that, especially when related to our digital lifestyle now. The world becomes flatter under the globalization. Apart from the business perspective, which has demonstrated the world become flatter from our first speaker, technology also has shaped globalization. It provides platform that has made the increasing pace of globalization, the creation of a flat world. The ability to communicate with others across the globe not only means that a greater depth and breadth of knowledge were available, it also creates a more level playing field in which the individual's ideas, insights, and actions could compete. Therefore, technology makes the world more flatter as well. Firstly, the network is more convenient and broad than before. It creates a platform as a communication medium so that in an efficient way to collaborate and exchange the information out of the distance. Netscape and the web broadened the audience for the internet from its root as a communication medium used primarily by early adapters to something that made the internet accessible to everyone from 5 years old to 95 years old. The digitalization that took place means that everyday occurrences such as films, files, music, and pictures could be accessed on a computer screen by all people across the world. Also, the internet connects computer to computers. The offer Friedman pointed out technology that allowed work to flow, the ability to machines to talk to other machines with no humans involved, and has become a crude foundation of a whole new global platform for collaboration. This creates a global platform for multiple fronts of collaboration that people can easier to access the information around the world. Secondly, the development of technology let individuals easy to manipulate and create information. The growth of search engine is tremendous. Friedman stated that Google is now processing roughly 1 billion search per day, up from 150 million just 3 years ago. Infoman, which means search engine, Google and other search engines, and Wikipedia are the prime examples. Besides uploading information online, communities uploading and collaborating on online projects. Examples include open source software, blogs, and Wikipedia. Moreover, the electronic device allowed individuals to harness the power of computer to digitalize information, also allowed rapid communication at the same time. The development of computer allowed information becomes digitalized, which made it easier to create and manipulate those information. Individuals were able to be more productive, and with advance in communication technology, for instance, using a modem to develop this digitalized information to other people around the globe, people were able to share their information with others outside their immediate setting. Therefore, the world becomes flatter because of the advance of technology. The development of the Internet provides a way for individuals to share this digital information globally. And finally, the development of workflow software enables companies and individuals to integrate knowledge, ideas, and actions seamlessly and more productively, so that our world becomes flatter and flatter. Thank you.
Although globalization can bring some benefits to the world in economic perspective, there are some unavoidable distance between different countries in economy. According to Gimer's professor, under globalization, the interaction on economy between different countries are increased. However, the distance between their economic situation is hardly to be narrow. When the living standards is different, the consumer income will also be different. For example, when two companies from different countries are working together for a project, but the companies are having different living standards, so when the companies are sharing the profits, their requirement will never be equal to one another. Instead of the living standards, different costs and qualities of natural, human resources and information can also lead to the economic distance between different countries. Not only the economic distance, but also the geographical distance is also unavoidable under globalization. Although different countries can have a close relationship with each other under globalization, the geographical situation is hardly to be changed. There are still lack of common border and waterway access between different countries. Also, the transportation and communication link are still not adequate between some less developed countries. So that in our size, we think globalization cannot make the world better because there are some distance between different countries cannot be narrowed by globalization. Thank you.
As the first speaker in affirmative science said that trading activities can help the world become flatter. However, geographical distance is the physical barriers that we need to see as one of the main concerns of business investments. The resources endowments, like the natural resources such as oil and gas deposits, have certain resources advantage in different regions. Likewise, location advantage is given by cancelling of economic activities in certain locations. For instance, Silicon Village in USA, with the cancel of suppliers, manufacturers, resources companies. No matter how the world becomes flatter, the local advantage is always be the main support of geographical distance for foreign direct investment. That globalization cannot make the world flatter by trading activity. On the other hand, according to the second affirmative speaker comments that maybe the technology has the most whispered implication in smooth away problems of distance and brings lots of convenience. There are undoubtedly globalizing focus at business, but we do not have a fully globalized world. The world's needs and disparities have been homogeneous. For example, cultural diversity is the core value between individuals and different countries. With different cultural backgrounds, they make everyone to be a unique person and unique culture. Although people may have more chance to learn different language, every culture also has the unspoken language, which referred to non-verbal communication and non-verbal cues. They are important and influence culture by shaping the way people perceive the world. To sum up, we strongly believe that globalization still concerns about the distance of the world. Instead of going global, beginning to going local is the key to increase globalization. Under the diversity of globalization, we are not only taking the advantage of technology, but also protecting our own values, cultures, and personalities. People in 21st century cannot avoid the impacts of globalization. It plays the main role of uniting the world. However, we should always keep in mind that distance still matters. Around the world in cultural, administrative, geographical, and economic aspects presented in Professor Gimmer's article.
The opposition side has put forward that cultural distance such as language, ethics, and social norms still exist. However, with the advance of media, which has special capability to influence millions of people at the same time, it conveys and promotes different culture to us. People nowadays tend to accept and willing to understand diversity. Let's take language for an example. There are more and more people learn different languages for interest, business, or traveling. They also learn culture through knowing one language. Also, English is an international language to break the barrier of the world. People use English in the field of business, academic, science, education, or politics. The UN states that there are around 85% of international organizations use English as at least one of their official languages. A 2010 report by British Council also suggests that the number of people learning English is likely to continue to increase by 2 billion over the next 10 to 15 years. Instead of saying language is the barrier of the world, I would say that it is an essential tool to make people to get to know more about each other. The opposition side also mentioned about the absence of political association and the political hostilities distant the world. In fact, globalization reduced the importance of nation-states. Many have organized themselves into trade blocs. Institutions such as the European Union, the WTO, the G8, and the International Criminal Court
replaced the national functions to facilitate international agreement. This has reduced the sovereignty of nation-states to take the important decisions, where we can see massive interventions of this organization in all fields. In addition, non-governmental organizations in public policy like humanitarian aid, developmental efforts, have the mission of uplifting the unprivileged societies of the world. All the evidence shows that actually people all over the world are paying effort to achieve consistency to reduce conflicts. In conclusion, we strongly believe that globalization makes the world get closer. In business aspects, the increased use of insourcing allows the companies to exchange the information and creates shared value. And outsourcing helps the company to split the services and manufacturing process in different countries. In technology aspects, the rapid development of internet and the computer technology allow people to communicate effectively without time and regional restriction and share information. We understand that there is diversity in the world, but we cannot deny that globalization has brilliant power to link up the world and strengthen the connection of people. Therefore, today, our team stands for the motion, globalization make the world flatter. Thank you.